Welcome to the Dropship Podcast, where you'll learn how to build and grow a high-ticket dropshipping business and hear stories from successful e-commerce entrepreneurs. Let's kick this thing off. Hey, welcome to the Dropship Podcast, where today we're going to answer a question: is dropshipping a scam? I have no idea how we didn't stumble on this keyword before, but our content team stumbled on it, has a decent search volume. And so John and I are like, well, we have to answer this question. What better place to answer is dropshipping a scam than on the Dropshipping Podcast? But I do think we'll give you a very unbiased opinion, because I was curious where this question came from, why there was so much search volume around is dropshipping a scam? And then you answered it before the call, and I said, that was so gold, you have to repeat those words. Is dropshipping a scam, John? Where does that come from?
Well, I think where it comes from, and I can kind of see it. I can kind of see why that question would go around in people's heads, right? I mean, you're on TikTok, you're on wherever, Instagram or whatever, and you see some young guys posting like, oh, I made $1 million a month drop shipping this month, and you can get started today and it doesn't cost any money, and drop shipping's a low cost of entry business model. You can get started. We say you can get started for a few $100s, which is true, literally true, right? But then that business could turn into something that produces a lot of money. And I think in people's minds, particularly people who don't have any, business experience or any experience online or anything like that, like it kind of sounds easy, and you're like, well, how can something be seemingly so easy and low cost but actually make that much money? Because they're not seeing what goes on behind the scenes or how it actually works. That understanding hasn't come up. So you automatically think we're in a very skeptical world these days, which once again doesn't surprise me. Your automatically mind would go to, well, that seems a bit unreal, so I'm going to go and search, is that a scam, right? And so what I would say is definitely drop shipping is not a scam, because it's just a method of fulfillment that's been happening for 20 years. So there's no disputing whether or not it is a scam, the word drop shipping, right? It's not, clearly, because all it means is you're shipping something in a slightly different way to other methods of shipping. That's literally the difference in drop shipping, right? It's where you're fulfilling a product from. But I will say that while drop shipping is not a scam, the way that drop shipping is marketed and put to people out there by certain individuals online is very, very close to a scam. Yeah, the way it's talked about is very close, and some methods of drop shipping and the way that they are put in front of people online, usually with the encouragement to go and purchase something from that person. Like, I can't say it's an outright scam, but it's very close. I will say that.
Sure. Look, I would imagine they stumbled on it just like they stumbled on anything else, right? Someone's talking about retail arbitrage, and then they're talking about drop shipping, and then they're talking about this side hustle and that side hustle. And so your first thought is like, here we go again, right? And like, let's go see if this is a scam. Or it could be, there's no shortage of your friends on Facebook who are, join the latest MLM who want to sell you stuff. And so you're right. I think it's how it's marketed that it comes off as a scam. There's plenty of people who are like, I made $1 million last month drop shipping, right? And look, they very well may have, right? There's that's not impossible that you could start a low ticket dropshipping, run Facebook ads, and do $1 million in revenue. Probably not really make anything on the bottom line. Have a ton of disappointed customers who still haven't gotten their package yet, by the way, because it's coming from China and it's garbage. And so, like, yeah, I think you're right. And even the people who I think are teaching the right model. Look, John and I aren't the only ones who talk about high ticket dropshipping online. Even those people are coming off as a little scammy, right? I think there's one dude who says, I made a relatively small amount of revenue so far, and you can do it too. And like, so why would you want to learn from somebody who hasn't really done that much, right? Or it only works in this country. You need to learn from a country specific person. Or I think there's another guy out there who literally says, I've made whatever, a couple $1 million selling this product. You should come learn from me. And then proceeds to tell you, you should sell everything under the sun, that you should have like a flea market type store. Like, think of the flea market on the side of the road. You want to go shop there? Maybe to browse around, but like, how are you serving anyone online when you're trying to serve everyone? So I think even people who are teaching the right method are teaching a scammy, let alone definitely the low ticket drop shipping, retail arbitrage angle of this is man, that's really scammy to me, the way it's presented online.
Yeah, and so I get where people are coming from. I had somebody who was I think listens to this podcast, is not a member of our course or anything like that. I think they were just emailing me the other day, like they were evaluating dropshipping as a business model, and I'd given them a bit of insight into it via email, and I got an email back. I saw it yesterday evening actually, and the person said was, oh well, yeah, like this person's already in sort of business circles, I think, and they have some business experience like in other areas, and they're like, yeah, look, I'm kind of into it. I went and talked to my colleagues and friends about it, and they all said it was a bad idea. And I was like, yeah, okay, well, have any of them actually done dropshipping and so forth? So I think dropshipping as well.
What does Hormozy say? Like his number one piece of advice is don't take advice from poor people. Like all these people who have never done anything you're trying to do are telling you shouldn't do something, whereas people who have done it are saying, yeah, you should. This is going to be hard, and you should definitely try this. So I think that's a big thing, John. I think you nailed it. Of like when they immediately think of it, they mention it to somebody, and they're like, I don't know about that. Why don't you stick here in safety land with this shitty job that we both have instead of like going to try something?
Hey, remember Holly? Yeah, episode 212. From $0 to $500,000 in 5 months. Holly is one of our best students, and you can hop on a call with her right now at dropshipbreakthru.com/call. If you're listening to this, I know you're thinking about starting your own high-ticket dropshipping business, and what better person to speak to than Holly, who is a shining example of what can be done starting your own business. So hop on a call with Holly, see if joining Dropship Breakthru is right for you. dropshipbreakthru.com/call.
Yeah, and dropshipping, I think, does have, because of, the marketing practices of a relative few in the last 5 years, does now have, for a lot of people, an automatic negative association. And once again, those are not people who have actually done it. It's just kind of built up as online as having that. And so I do think that probably also feeds into that the question that we're ultimately answering here. But I mean, to answer that question specifically, like really specifically, think about what I mean. If you're thinking that question, think about what you mean when you think of the word drop shipping as well. Like drop shipping, like when you use that word by itself, all it means is you are shipping a product from a supplier's warehouse directly to a customer rather than to your own warehouse and holding a quantity of stock before shipping it to your customer. That's all dropshipping is. When you say the word dropshipping, that is literally what you mean. So it's not possible for that to be a scam, right? Because it's just the method of fulfillment in a truck, putting something in a truck, it goes from here to there. That's all dropshipping is. A better question that people should be asking is probably, are particular methods of dropshipping viable or a scam? Even then, I mean, you put that into a search engine, you're not going to get a good answer. But you really have to use your judgment and listen to the way people talk about things. If somebody's online is presenting you with a business opportunity, go and spend some time with that person. Go and listen to their free content. Listen to the way they talk. Listen to the way they talk about life. Listen to the way they think. And if it doesn't line up for you, then run very far in the other direction. If you see somebody running an ad on TikTok or somewhere and you go and look them up and you can't find anything about them, then guess what? You should not ever listen to that person, right? You can come and spend 250 episodes of podcasts with me and Ben here, which I don't know how many hours that is now. Like, you can really get to know us and decide whether I like these guys or not. And I'm sure a lot of people listen to us and say, I don't like those guys a lot. And that's fine. Good. That's great. I'm glad that we've given you the opportunity to form that opinion of us. And like, not to toot our own horn, where's the difference between somebody who is trying to scam you and somebody who is not, right? If we were trying to scam people, we're not sitting here for 2 years, 3 times a week, recording episodes for you to listen to get to know us so that you can work out whether we're scammy or not. That's the mark of people who have something genuine to do, who have worked with thousands of people. And how many times can you go out and find people slagging us off online? You can't, because those people aren't really out there. So like if you want to work out if something's a scam or not, like, you really have to use your own judgment, because Google searches are not going to help you with that.
If John and I were a scam, we'd be telling you how to use AI to make $1 million tomorrow dropshipping, right? Like, wouldn't that be the new thing we would have pivoted into, right? Right from telling you to buy, crypto so that you can dropship it. I don't know. Anyway,
yeah, I mean that's another good point. Like, if you can see somebody who's been doing something consistently for a decade, it's not a scam. Like the low ticket, like all the low ticket guys from 5 years ago, you cannot find a single one of them online anymore. You can't. Talking about that stuff. That's a sign that it doesn't work in the long term. Otherwise, why would they have stopped doing it? I've been doing high ticket dropshipping early next year for a decade, consistently, the whole time. Still doing it. We're still, opening new businesses. We're still taking on new businesses in that space. Still doing it. So it's definitely not a scam.
But the other method was really popular. Like, I imagine most people 22 and above know somebody who tried it, right? And like, there's no shortage of sales calls you and I get on, Sean, or we don't anymore. Our team is handling the sales calls now, and they're probably getting these same things of saying, hey, I tried low ticket dropshipping. I burned a couple grand on Facebook ads. It didn't really work out. The customers were unhappy, right? Like, that happened to me daily on sales calls. And so I assume at this point, most people who have even stumbled on dropshipping know somebody who tried it, and they probably failed because that method sucks. Like, there's very few winners that came out of low ticket dropshipping. So now that's even more evidence that this is a scam. And so anyone who's like stumbled onto our show, we get that feedback of like, I tried this and I lost a couple grand, and then I found you guys, and the way you talked about high ticket dropshipping makes a ton of sense. And you actually seem like real people. And I've binged 50 episodes, and you're not saying some different stuff in episode 50 that you did in episode 30. And so, I think that's the hard part, is like we get lumped into a group of people who are not like us in any way, shape, or form. And we have to, show who we truly are and work our way out of that. And, hopefully people have stuck around long enough to see who we really are. Because like you said, there's no way we're doing this for 3 years, 3 days a week. John's not getting up at 6 a.m. to record podcasts with me if we're out here, trying to make a quick buck.
Yep, definitely.
So dropshipping's not a scam. Don't do the low ticket.
Thanks for listening to the Dropship Podcast. You can find all the show notes for this episode at dropshippodcast.com. And if you're ready to take the next step in your dropshipping journey, we invite you to join us inside Dropship Breakthru, where John and I will walk you through step by step in starting your own high-ticket dropshipping e-commerce business. But that's not all. Dropship Breakthru will also teach you everything you'll need to know to grow your business and take it to the next level. So head over to dropshipbreakthru.com and sign up for our free training that will help you take the first steps towards building and growing your own profitable high-ticket dropshipping business.